Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm the Director of Experiences and Engagement here at SHA. And I have a special guest with me who we are getting ready to talk about our Inner Circle monthly speaker who's going to join us in October. So welcome. If you'd
Thank
like to
you.
introduce yourself, yeah, your name and
I am
pronouns and
okay.
yeah.
My name is Dr. Jallen. I am a sexologist. My pronouns are he and she. He and she. No, he, him. Wow, that's confusing, isn't it? No, just he, him. I'm fine with he, him. And I don't know if you want me to give background or anything
Sure,
like that.
go for it. I'd
Good.
love to hear your background and kind of what
Okay.
brought you here.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a very conservative religious environment, Southern Baptist, and for the most part, it was a very stable, great, wonderful upbringing. Had 3 meals a day, the whole kind of white picket fence
Hmm.
thing. But somewhere in puberty, I began to realize that what I was experiencing sexually inside of me was different from what the other boys were, and
Hmm.
indeed I realized I was attracted to men rather than women for the most part, and knew pretty much by then. I didn't really have a name for it, but I knew pretty much by then it was not okay. And I kind of kept that as a secret till I got to college. And the only option I knew to kind of figure it out was an ex-gay ministry, conversion therapy stuff. Um, didn't work. In fact, it made things a lot worse.
Yeah.
But it also gave me a big drive to really understand what sexuality was
Mhm.
all about. And I joke that the ex-gay ministry made me a sexologist because I really, having that first really uh, uh, difficult and damaging experience gave me a real craving for what really was going on or what the research really said. So eventually I got my degree, Doctor of Education in Sexology. Um, but also I was on a big adventure of exploring and understanding my sexuality. Got body work under my belt, so to speak, and
Mhm.
um, to the degree I began to do sex work and exploring that whole world. And now I do a combination. I don't know if we'd want to call it sex therapy. Some people are very specific about the word therapy. But I do um, uh, the term that comes to mind this time is adult one-on-one sex education, maybe
Okay.
even tutoring. But it generally falls into sex therapy. A lot of people come to me for just talk therapy, couples
Mhm.
coming wanting to spice things up or whatever. And as long as they go home and do the fun and sexy homework, we can get them up and going pretty quickly. But I have not gone the psychotherapeutic route, mainly because I feel the importance of sexuality is not just the head knowledge, but
Mhm.
it's the experiential as well.
Absolutely.
So when clients are open to consensual explorations in that, I can provide that for them.
Absolutely.
Technique, first time
Yeah.
experiences, learning this or that, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. That was a great
Thank you.
breakdown. Okay, so you jumped into this already. But what interest do you have in the sexuality field? Is there anything else that you want to add um to kind of what you're doing, what
Um,
you're
because of my religious background and the whole trauma related
Mhm.
to religious abuse, I will call it religious. I don't
Yeah.
have any problem with spirituality or even religions that are life affirming, but
Mhm.
all too often, power abuse gets in there, sexual
Absolutely.
abuse gets in there,
Yep.
and uh, and we now call it religious abuse. So I get a lot of clients finding me because of that specialty and expertise. Um, and I my first book I published was called Ex Gay No Way, And it was kind of a memoir of me going through that whole experience. So if there's anything that I work with regularly, it's really helping people understand that they can have spirituality and
Mhm.
sexuality in the same body. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a enriching and wonderful thing, has nothing to do with shame. And
Yeah.
I work a lot with religious abuse survivors. So that's kind of a big deal for me. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. So first of all, you mentioned that you wrote a book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
Yes.
can you share that
Oh,
title again?
sure.
You went super fast.
It's called XK No Way. Uh, Recovery. I have to remember the byline. Recovery and um, survival and recovery from
Okay.
religious abuse. That's the byline.
I love
It's
that.
basically just my story. It's basically my story and what I did to recover,
Yeah.
for the most part. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I was very lucky to get published, and it was a wonderful experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
So on the topic of books, what kind of books or podcasts do you absolutely recommend to your clients and
Yeah.
peers?
These days, one of the books that I'm finding that I'm recommending a lot is Kristen Neff's Self-Compassion.
Okay.
The book is just called Self-Compassion. As you can imagine, you probably know that probably one of the biggest obstacles that people have to their sexual pleasure is shame, the belief that I am not good enough. Um, and coming out of a religious environment where we had to, we're always sinners and we never really measure up, and we got to have God's grace just to survive. That creates a lot of dependency and a lot of shame. And even to the point, having that exposed to me at a young age, it's just become
Mhm.
kind of part of my makeup. And I struggled a long time for got to get more self-esteem, got to be confident, got to do this, got to do that. And now with the research that I have looked into,
Yeah.
really the best thing that I can do is give myself compassion.
Yeah.
And sounds simple, not so easy to implement.
Yeah.
And this book has really kind of changed things up for me. She gives really wonderful step-by-step ways to kind of upend your pattern of self-shame and self-deprecation. And it's been really, really, really helpful. So I really like that book.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. Good recommendation. What are you most excited about to talk to our members? And also, I'm going to kind of loop this into what's one objective you hope your audience will take away from your presentation.
We're going to be talking about how to help clients who have come out of religious abuse uh, feel good about themselves, kind of get solid footing. They can be really anywhere on the spectrum. I've worked with people who first come right out of,
Mhm.
they are leaving the church and they are coming to see
Mm.
me, and then others, I'm not sure if we can live in an American society. Not that everybody's going to be watching that is from America, but the Western society,
Yeah.
without having some certain amount of exposure to, if you don't do it God's way, you're going to burn in hell kind of attitudes. And that has an effect on us. And
Mhm.
so I can give some real practical tools how to help people who are coming out of that experience to not just reject their spirituality, but kind of sort through, what they're going to have to, what they want to keep and
Mhm.
what they need to discard. So I feel like I have a lot of practical steps for that.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And then our last question, in an ideal world, what's one thing the majority of the population is on board with?
If I could wave my magic wand, there would be
Yep.
so much. But I think what comes to mind for me the most is that I wish we could, and I don't think we're that far away. It's happening. It's happening. I call it the big shift. I
Mhm.
hope that we can, in our society, become more and more, it's sex positivity is what it basically is. It's just we have negative messages out there about sex and sexuality. And I know it's a class sort of thing, but we just need to get more and more and more positive sexuality out there so that when people think of sexuality, when it comes to mind, it's just not this list of, oh my gosh, STIs and disease and abuse and harassment. No. Even though we need to talk about all those things, they tend to be the only things that reach the media, so to speak. And so if we could critically mass change that big shift from negative to positive, or for the most part positive, I just think it would change our society so much when it comes to sexuality in general. So that's my big wish, and that's what I try to hope for.
I love that. That's a good one. It's so true. So true. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate chatting with you today. It's been so great. And everyone catch Dr. Jallen Ricks October 20th at 2:30 at our Inner Circle meeting. He's going to be our guest speaker for October, and I am so looking forward to this.
Thank you. Looking forward to it too.
Thank you.